All right, guys, we're going to look at a common scenario for self-defense jiu-jitsu from standing either the sucker punch or the football tackle if somebody goes to tackle you. First things first, we always want to look at distance as being the most important thing, right? So if we put our hands out, this is still fighting distance, right? I can kick and punch from this distance. So I actually want to take a step back from this distance, and here's where I know I'm safe, right? Sometimes though, this distance gets closed in on and we have to deal with that, right? So first thing we want to look at is the sucker punch and our hand position. This is the reflex stance, so we're going to keep our hands up at all times, right? The way that I like to use the reflex stance is I'm going to put my hands up kind of in the prayer position, just about chest level right here, right? I don't want to do anything crazy where my hands get into my partner's face or the opponent's face right here, right? To escalate the situation, I want my hands at my chest here, almost as if it was invisible to them so they don't know what's really going on. Also, so that if they do throw a sucker punch, right, I'm able to get my hands up on time to block. If my hands are down and he goes to throw a sucker punch, I might not have the time to get it up before I get hit, right? So it's very important to always have our hands up. We're going to look at the sucker punch real quick, right? And then we'll move on to the football tackle, right? So if he throws, look, all I got to do, lift my hands up, I'm creating a frame right here. Also, if you can see, my arm is protecting my jaw, my head, my temple right here, right? Which is the shutoff switch for my computer. So they go to throw, my hands go from here and block right here, right? One of the worst case scenarios that we can be in. Another is they just change levels and tackle us, right? You see this, maybe drunk people at bars, your friends. If you watch street fights, this happens a lot in this scenario, right? So the person, we're just sitting here, we're talking, they're gonna change levels, tackle us, we fall, and we end up here in the closed guard. We're gonna look at a series from the closed guard in jiu-jitsu. That's the fan sweep, kimura, and guillotine. Last week we looked at break and posture. This week we're going to look at when they create this distance, right? Us getting the distance back by going to them instead of pulling them to us. At this distance, it's really important to know that in self-defense they can strike from here, right? In gi jiu-jitsu, they have to get posture just to pass, right? So what I want to look at is sitting up and getting my chest on theirs because this distance allows them to strike or pass. So I'm going to sit up. When I sit up, I'm going to sit up at an angle, at an X, with my arm going over the shoulder. So I'm going to sit up to my elbow and then to my palm. So I sit up, elbow, palm, and I get my chest as close as possible as I can right here, right? I'm going to trap the arm at the elbow. So look, I wrap around, trapping, and making sure his arm is tight to my body right now. Now look, I'm going to open my guard, pop my hips forward, turn and look away, and sweep them all the way over here to the mount. Once I get to the mount, look, I'm going to put my hands in skydive position and make sure I maintain the mount. Next thing we want to look at is when we go to do this, sometimes I don't trap the arm and they're able to post right here and it gives us an option to set up for a submission. So I sit up, elbow, palm, load my hips, right? Uncross my guard, I go to bump, but they post right here, right? So now look, I'm going to hip out the other way. I don't want to reach and grab the arm right now because I don't want to give away what I'm doing. So I'm going to hip out towards this arm here, bring my leg over, and I'm going to catch the wrist as I do that, right? Now, my hand goes underneath of his arm, grabs my own wrist, I'm going to turn and get on my side. My leg goes over the back so they can't somersault right here, right? And get out. Now, I'm going to lock his elbow to my chest, keep his hand at a 45-degree angle, and slowly try to high-five the back of his head with his own hand until I get the tap right here. Next option is we go to do the kimura or the fan sweep, and they want to push into us to try to flatten us back out on the mat, right? So it gives us the guillotine. So again, I'm going to sit up at an angle. Elbow up to my palm, load my hips right here, right? I go to bump, but they push into me, so I can't, right, bump them over. But now what I have is the guillotine. So look, I'm going to scoop my hips back, right? I need my head and chest in front of my hips right here so it doesn't just push me back to the mat. My arm is going to wrap around his neck. Here, I'm going to grab my own wrist, sit back, close the guard, straighten out my legs, and arch my back, getting the tap here for the guillotine.